It's crazy how fast things can spiral when you're dealing with someone like Diddy. But what's even crazier is who's now stepping into the spotlight. Kimora Lee Simmons. She's not just a fashion icon or some celebrity mom figure. She's stepping up like a guardian angel for two girls caught in the absolute worst kind of storm. And the person she's going after? Not Diddy. Not directly, it's his own mother, Janice Combs. Now let's get this straight. These twins, Jesse and Delilah, have already been through more than any teenager should. Losing their mother, Kim Porter, was just the beginning. Since then, they've had to live under the shadow of a man now being accused of some of the most disturbing things you'll ever hear. And while the focus has been on Diddy's crimes, Kimora seems to be pointing the finger somewhere else, at the woman who raised him. So why is Janice Combs getting dragged into all this? According to Kimora, Janice didn't just take over as a grandmother. She allegedly started grooming the girls, pushing them into a lifestyle that they never asked for and were definitely too young to understand. This isn't about fashion advice or grandmotherly support. We're talking about allegedly preparing them for the same freak show circus Diddy got caught up in. And the receipts? They're horrifying. Word is, Janice wasn't just passive. She was active. There are whispers that she arranged situations that slowly introduced Jesse and Delilah to older men, people they had no business being around. And even though these are just rumors right now, the courtroom breakdowns say a lot. Multiple reports claim the twins couldn't even sit through the full trial. They ran out, crying, shaken. And if you're wondering what kind of testimony could cause that kind of reaction, think escorts talking about what Diddy forced them to do in graphic detail. But here's where things get real twisted. It's not just about what Diddy did, it's about the environment he grew up in. Because Diddy himself has admitted that his childhood was far from normal. His father was a Harlem gangster who got murdered in the streets. And his mother, Janice, had her own dark past. Diddy once revealed that he lost his virginity at 12 and was exposed to adult content way before he should have been. He even watched something called Midnight Blue when he was just a kid. So yeah, this cycle didn't start with him. It might have started with Janice. Sources say Janice used to work nights as an escort, allegedly bringing clients home, while Diddy was still a child. And not just that, there are claims that she allowed him to witness things no child should ever see. If that's true, it's not hard to imagine how Diddy turned into the man he is now. The twisted worldview, the obsession with power, the freak-offs, it's all learned behavior. And Kimora is saying loud and clear that the same blueprint was being applied to Jesse and Delilah. That's where Kimora draws the line. These weren't just some distant kids to her, she was Kim Porter's best friend. She made a promise at Kim's funeral that she'd look out for her children. And unlike a lot of people in that circle, she actually meant it. When the twins started acting distant, when they stopped planning for college, when they disappeared from the public eye, Kimora noticed. And now she's going public with what she saw behind the scenes. What's worse is that it looks like someone doesn't want her talking, because just days after she made a cryptic Instagram post calling out the truth, her house mysteriously caught on fire with her and her kids inside. Kimora wasn't just some friend looking in from the outside. She'd been part of that family's inner circle for years. She knew the dynamic between Diddy, Kim, and Janice better than most. And after Kim passed away, she saw things shift in a way that didn't sit right. Jesse and Delilah, once bubbly and full of life, started showing signs of something deeper: fear, confusion, even trauma. And the more Kimora tried to stay close, the more Janice pushed her away. It wasn't subtle either. According to insiders, staff working at Diddy's homes were allegedly told not to let Kimora visit unless she had explicit permission. Her calls weren't returned, her messages were ignored. And anytime she did get FaceTime with the girls, they seemed scared to say too much, like someone was always watching. That's when Kimora started digging, connecting the dots. She knew what kind of man Diddy was becoming, but what shook her more was realizing how involved Janice might be. People in Diddy's orbit had always whispered about Janice's influence, that she was more than just a bystander in his upbringing. Some even claim she was a key reason Diddy turned out the way he did. When he was a child, she allegedly normalized behaviors that no kid should witness: parties with grown men and women, escort clients showing up at the house, late-night chaos, and over time, Diddy seemed to take those memories and replicate them in his adult life, only now with money, fame, and power backing his every move. The most disturbing allegations involve the parallels between what Janice supposedly did to Diddy and what she was now doing to the twins. If true, that means this isn't just about bad parenting, it's about generational abuse repeating itself. Some sources even say Janice saw Jesse and Delilah as assets, just like Diddy allegedly did, not as daughters or granddaughters to be protected, but as tools in their empire. Tools to be molded, trained, and eventually exploited. Now imagine being 18, fresh out of high school, and realizing everything you thought was normal growing up wasn't normal at all. That's what Jesse and Delilah are supposedly dealing with. And it's not just the trauma of what happened, it's the isolation. They've been told to put on a brave face, stand by their father in court, show unity for the cameras, but behind the scenes, they're breaking. They didn't even apply to college, despite being academically strong. Instead, they said they were starting a business, but many believe that's just code for we're not ready to face the world. There's another layer too. People close to the situation say the girls may have started connecting the dots between what happened to their mom, Kim Porter, and what's being said about Diddy now. Kim's death was always seen as tragic, but now it's being looked at under a new light. Some believe she knew too much, others think she was getting ready to expose something before she passed, and the twins, they might finally be realizing that the pain they're feeling isn't just about loss, it's about betrayal. That's why Kimora's stepping in harder than ever. She's not just making noise for the sake of it, she's trying to protect what's left of Kim's legacy. She's fighting to get custody or at least legal rights to intervene, but the pushback has been intense. Legal threats, online attacks, and now a house fire that just feels a little too perfectly timed. It's like someone sending a message, stay out of it. But if there's one thing about Kimora, she doesn't scare easy. The pressure is mounting from all sides, but Kimora is refusing to back down. She's seen firsthand what silence can do, how it allows dangerous patterns to thrive behind closed doors. And right now, she's the only one willing to speak up for Jesse and Delilah in a world that's trying to shut them down. She's not just fighting Janice and Diddy, she's fighting a system of control that's protected them for decades. People are starting to notice the cracks in Diddy's carefully curated image. The man who once built an empire on charm and swagger is now facing federal charges, with layers of allegations pulling back the curtain on the life he kept hidden. But what really makes it impossible to look away is how his own children are being dragged through the mess. Christian's name popping up in legal documents, Justin's involvement being quietly swept under the rug, and now Jesse and Delilah trying to navigate the fallout of something they never asked to be part of. Insiders say that behind the scenes, there's panic. Diddy's legal team is allegedly working overtime to present a united family front in court. Well-dressed kids, solemn expressions, the whole performance. But the reality is messier. Word is, several of the kids are in survival mode, just trying to figure out how to distance themselves without losing everything. The girls in particular are reportedly living in a state of confusion, torn between loyalty, fear, and a desperate need for normalcy. And then there's Janice. While she hasn't been charged with anything, her name keeps surfacing in conversations no grandmother should ever be linked to. Former associates are talking. People who were once afraid to speak are now sharing stories about strange house rules, late-night visitors, and a cold, controlling woman who always seemed to know more than she let on. Her connection to Diddy's darkest moments is starting to raise questions not just about what she knew, but what she taught. The resurfaced video of Diddy and Janice hooked up to IV bags has taken the internet by storm. Diddy's explanation? They were recharging. But to people who've been following the trial, it's hard to ignore how eerily similar that looks to what Cassie described. IV bags being used to recover after disturbing freak-off events. Add in the bizarre moment of Diddy kissing his mom on the mouth, and you've got the kind of footage that sends chills down your spine. This doesn't feel like family bonding. It feels like code. Despite all this, there are still defenders, people who say Janice is just a mother doing her best, that Diddy's actions are his own. But those same people aren't asking why the twins are suddenly pulling back from everything they once worked toward, why their mother's best friend is risking everything to speak out, why Kimora, with her own career, her own family, and nothing to gain, is choosing to be the shield between them and whatever comes next. It's becoming harder and harder to ignore the signs. The Instagram posts, the testimonies, the escape from the courtroom, the sudden fire, all pointing to a story that goes deeper than most are willing to accept. And in the middle of it all, two girls are trying to reclaim what little control they have left over their lives. For Kimora, this isn't about fame, and it's definitely not about drama. It's about honoring a promise she made to her best friend. A promise to protect her kids no matter what. And now, with everything laid bare and the stakes higher than ever, Kimora isn't asking for permission, she's taking her stand. And this time, the people who tried to keep her silent might be the ones with everything to lose.